Jesus Christ had a vision. No, it wasn't a vision of being a millionaire while wearing a $5,000 Armani suit, becoming a rock star, achieving world domination while riding a polar bear to the moon. It was actually a vision of humanity attaining perfection through his words and his Father's will. That's why he created the Beatitudes to guide his brothers under his reign.
For 2,000 years, his message of love and peace propagated through the masses and shaped the modern day. But where do we see his influence in the modern day?
This is a list of the top 10 best examples of how humans demonstrate the kingdom of God.
Number 10.
Oprah Winfrey has a massive heart for which she makes this top 10 list.
As a student or a former student, you should probably recognize the importance of funding in the education system. This becomes especially important in developing countries. Oprah raised $126 million in total, which was distributed among schools in 13 countries. This created scholarships, built youth centers, and women's shelters.
Maybe if John Cabot got some funding, we may be able to actually afford a camera.
Oprah displays that she is poor in spirit after doing her corporal works of mercy and giving advice to chumps like us on how to love each other on her show.
Number 9.
When this smooth criminal is not busy making the world's greatest hits that thrill your Billie Jeans off, he spends his precious time visiting children in hospitals, spending time with young cancer patients through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and contributing to numerous other charities on a regular basis.
We speak, of course, of Michael Jackson, who famously started the We Are the World movement, which was primarily dedicated to raising funds for aid in Africa. He made over $500 million of charitable donations of his own. We can all learn from his examples of kindness, humility, and meekness.
So if you don't think Michael's a star, you can just...
Number 8.
Yeah, we know his name is impossible to pronounce, but if you're a badass like him, you could get anything you want.
Liu Xiaobo peacefully protested and got himself arrested in 1989,
1996,
and 2008.
We really are looking at a modern-day Gandhi, folks. Hunger strikes everything.
His anti-corruption protests were considered counter-revolutionary, propaganda, and incitement. He actively participated in forming peace between the people and the PLA or the government. His work as a human rights activist won him the Nobel Prize in 2010. He was also a visiting scholar to universities. Liu showed that his thirst for righteousness would never fall to his temptations.
Our hats off to Mr. Xiaobo.
Number 7.
In 2005, America experienced the most costliest and one of the 5 most deadly hurricanes in history. Hurricane Katrina blew with 280 km/h winds and caused $108 billion worth of damage. Over 1,833 fatalities resulted from this natural phenomenon. In these desperate times, survivors of the hurricane turned towards God in mourning.
Internationally, over 70 countries helped in the recovery from this disaster, including Cuba, which was one of the first countries to offer assistance.
Unfortunately, USA rejected Cuba's aid, but regardless, the act really demonstrated the power of human conscience and strengthened unity. Peacemakers everywhere amalgamated to generously give to who they saw as the other.
Number 6.
This next guy will make you want to fill up your lungs and sing.
Silly, pretty little thing.
We speak, of course, of the rock star, pop star, philanthropist Bob Geldof. The Irish-born musician held entire concerts, Band Aid, Live Aid, and Live 8, whose proceeds went directly to famine relief in Ethiopia. He even worked closely with Bono in the One campaign. He is currently trying to raise $1 billion to invest in Africa. You heard that right, not donate, but invest in Africa.
This really shows the level of respect and trust he has for the continent.
Geldof really believes that Africa can fight the problems it is experiencing and is actively involved in promoting that message.
Geldof is the man.
The Man of Peace, that is. He is a recipient of the Man of Peace Award and was even nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, and did I forget, it's Sir Bob Geldof now.
Number 5.
The LGBT is responsible for creating a lot of acronyms and backronyms such as QUILTBAG,
Quilt bag.
and FABGLITTER,
Fabulator.
GLBTA,
Gupta.
and MSGI.
Mzgi.
Each of these are popularized by the LGBT community in hopes to better represent their identities and ideals. This is done in order to raise awareness and bring together the individuals of the community who are gay, lesbian, transsexual, or bisexual. Their message is to promote equality among all humans, especially those persecuted for their homosexuality around the world. Their hunger and thirst for righteousness brings them to protest federal laws, social standards, and religious persecution. According to the words of Jesus, inclusivity and love must exist in harmony. With that,
DONE.
we can move on to our number
FOUR.
Number 4.
Good morning!
Hey, you too.
Hey, guess what? It's a beautiful day to talk about Bono.
Well, he really comes from the hands that built America.
Coming in at number 4 is the Irish rock, punk rock, and alternative rock musician Bono. Where do we start with Bono? Bono is one of the most prominent names when it comes to aid for Africa. He performed for Bob Geldof's Live Aid and Band Aid projects, which raised millions for African charities. He was successful in convincing former President Bush in donating over $5 billion to aid in Africa.
Bono co-founded Project Red to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria.
The One Campaign, Data, and Eden are also projects Bono was involved in. Bono uses his talents to the benefit of others. He is extremely selfless and pure of heart. He even visits Africa regularly to have an active involvement with the people who he supports.
You can really do whatever you do.
Mr. Bono is awesome.
Dude, it's Sir Bono.
Number 3.
Rounding off our top 3 is Barack Hussein Obama.
Now, I know there's a lot of misconceptions of what Obama has done. It is important to recognize that Obama was placed in a real sticky situation from the recession that occurred as a result of the previous administration's economic decisions. Besides being a symbol for developing and changing America, Obama's influence has transformed the USA and further connected it with other countries. Obama introduced the economic stimulus package to recover healthcare, infrastructure, education, various tax breaks and incentives, keeping the well-being of the people as a whole as the basis for his plans.
The healthcare reform he introduced prevented the people from being denied by their insurers while being sick of pre-existing illnesses.
He repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, letting homosexuals openly serve in the military.
He created a Tax Relief and Job Creation Act.
He removed troops from Iraq and increased them in Afghanistan where they are actually required.
He currently supports the legalization of gay marriage.
He signed the treaty to reduce nuclear arms with Russia and ordered intervention in Libya, and the list goes on and on.
What does this all mean?
It doesn't necessarily mean that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, but it's certain that he's supporting a righteous cause. He's promoting peace and using his powerful influence to positively restructure the world.
Number 2.
Everyone knows who Bill Gates is.
He's a former CEO of Microsoft.
Yeah?
Currently the chairman,
Yep.
programmer, philanthropist,
Sure is.
rich as
Gates is best known for revolutionizing the computer industry with the Windows software platform, but he's also becoming renowned for his charitable causes. Gates has formed the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation along with his wife. This organization raises money for education and AIDS prevention. How much money?
$29 billion!
His selflessness has him donating the majority of his own funds to charity. He strives to fund great education in America where it is really overdue and has worked closely with celebrities and business magnates in several charities.
Dude, I'd love to make $250 every second. I'd totally donate it and stuff.
It's number 1.
He goes under the nickname
Wizard of Omaha,
or
Oracle of Omaha,
or the
Sage of Omaha.
Topping it at number 1 on this list is Warren Buffett.
Hey, why don't we call it Buffett?
He was the second richest man in the world, edging out Bill Gates by a few billion. Buffett gave away his estate after his wife's death through the Buffett Foundation. His foundation donates all of its raised funds to other charities, specifying in environment, education, and human rights. Buffett auctioned his car for Girls Incorporated.
That might sound strange, but I assure you it's a real thing.
Similarly, Warren auctioned a luncheon with himself for $650,000. Buffett gave $2.6 billion to his foundation himself, while pledging to eventually give 99% of his wealth. That is $44 billion if he does it in 2012. In addition, he pledged $50 million to the Nuclear Threat Initiative.
To top it all off, he lives in a relatively small, cozy, 5-bedroom house.
Yeah, you can't get much more humble than that and meek, can you?
Well, he can.
Yeah, Warren actually petitioned for the increased taxes on the rich, including himself, because he feels it was unfair that his secretary paid 30% tax while he only paid 16%. He agrees that the trickle-down effect has never worked in the past 10 years, and economic reforms are completely necessary.
Is he poor in spirit? You bet your butt!
Warren Buffett asked the billionaires of America to sign a pledge to give away half their wealth. Bill Gates has signed it, among a few others. Warren hopes to get more participants eventually.
Eventually.
Well, that just about does it for this top 10 list. We got some real humble folks, peacemakers, persecuted but righteous, merciful and poor in spirit, modern day heroes who put their time, money, and effort into making the world a better place.
Isn't that Christ's vision?
It sure is. This is how the kingdom of God is built.
Awesome.